Well, guess what? It's time for another round of the truth or myth game. Check out these facts you've known since childhood and try to figure out which of them are actual facts and which are no more than popular misconceptions. Zombies are not made up. True. Okay, we as humans can't turn into ones as we see in movies, but the animal kingdom has its zombies. For instance, one type of fungus takes over ants with specific chemicals. Something changes in the ant brain, so it leaves its family to fulfill a special mission, finding some special branch or leaf where the fungus sprouts out of it and then releases spores back into the world. Bats are blind. Not true at all. The myth probably comes from the fact that they're nocturnal creatures and have extraordinary hearing abilities. They hunt mostly when it's dark and rely on a thing called echolocation, just like whales. But it doesn't mean they're blind. Their eyes aren't useless, they're just adjusted to low-light conditions. The world's biggest waterfall is under the ocean. Now, this one's very true. It's in the Nordic Sea. The cold seawater is denser than the warm waterfall. The drop is almost 2 miles. The smallest wasp in the world is not bigger than an amoeba. Well, this is true as well. This wasp has the same body parts as other bugs, like eyes, wings, brain, legs, and more, but it's just 0.008 inches long, which in most cases makes it smaller than single-celled organisms we also know as amoebas. An ostrich egg will always have several yolks. Not true. Just like a regular chicken egg, an ostrich one has just one yolk. It's pretty large though, equal to about 24 chicken egg yolks. All dinosaurs were giants. Well, that's false. Movies show them as huge, scaly lizards, but nope. First off, there were many smaller dinosaur species, and some of them were as small as a turkey or a pigeon. Plus, some dinos, like T-Rex, were even covered with feathers, especially at the early stages of their lives. Oxygen is colorless. Well, this one is true, but only partially. As a gas, it has no color, but in solid or liquid form, it has a sky blue shade. We only use 10% of our brain. Well, speaking for myself, that's true, but it's overall false. The idea about hiding incredible powers in the rest of our brain makes for a good movie, but in reality, it's different. We actually use 100% of our brain all the time. It's only that parts of it are more active than others in different circumstances. The origins of the 10% myth date back to the 1890s with Harvard psychologists William James and Boris Sidis. Lobsters taste with their feet. Okay, this one is true. Humans actually do the same sometimes. We can taste garlic with our feet. Rub some of it on the bottom of your bare foot and enjoy the taste in your mouth. The chemical that gives garlic its unique smell gets absorbed through the skin, passes through the bloodstream, and ends up in your mouth and nose. Well, I think it's a good thing that we don't have to taste everything we step in. Moving on. Apes are our ancestors. Nope. We are all primates and have some common but very distinct ape ancestor with species like chimpanzees. Still, evolution works in a more complex way than that. The family tree divides, after which each species develops in their own direction. That way, humans and apes got many distinctive features after dividing their lineage in a very distant past. Then maybe Neanderthals are our ancestors? Myth again. Even though they lived at the same time modern humans at one point, they mostly inhabited different areas of our planet. So they're not just a stage of human development, but a different lineage. They were also pretty creative. They used fire, made tools, ate medicinal plants, cleaned their teeth, and did so many more things similar to our species. Neanderthals probably went extinct because of the harsh climate changes. The sun is yellow. Not true. This is an illusion created by the Earth's atmosphere. The true color of the sun is white. It all depends on the temperature. The cooler the star is, the deeper and darker it is. So the coolest stars are dark red or brown, and then there are hotter red stars. If the star is about 10,000 degrees Kelvin, it's blue. The Sun is not the hottest star, so with a surface temperature of about 6,000 Kelvin, it is white. Black holes are actual holes. This is a myth. Contrary to what the name implies, they aren't empty. They are very dense objects with an extremely strong gravitational pull. Here, step into this. Whoops! If you venture into a desert, you probably still need to grab an umbrella. True. It's a common misconception that it never rains in deserts. For example, the Sonoran Desert in Arizona is probably one of the wettest deserts on Earth, with up to 20 inches of rain per year. Dogs can only distinguish black and white. Myth. Sure thing your pup won't tell the difference between maroon and purple, but dogs do see a few colors. Their dominant ones are blue and yellow. For instance, when doggies see a rainbow, it looks for them as a sequence of brownish, light yellow, gray, light blue, and dark blue. Cats need whiskers for balance. Ah, that's a myth again. Cats need their whiskers to feel what's around them, not to maintain their balance. Also, whiskers help them see and navigate, so they basically act as antennae. The Great Wall of China is the only object made by people that's visible from space. Not true. NASA photos prove that there are quite a lot of human-made objects you can see from space. There are highways, bridges, some large airports, and even the Kennedy Space Center. Goldfish have a 3-second-long memory. No, but I do. Fish are actually really smart. One study showed goldfish could tell the difference between two classical songs. They're not quick learners, true, but after over 100 sessions, they did it, which wouldn't be possible if their memory could only last for 3 seconds. The deep sea is completely dark. Myth. Yeah, sunlight penetrates deep waters weakly, so technically we can say that below 3,200 feet, there's officially no light. However, there's another type of light down there. It's all about blue and green luminescence. It generates light thanks to an enzyme called luciferase. It breaks down high-energy molecules and produces photons in bacteria and some deep-sea fish bodies. The ostrich buries its head in the sand. Not true. The bird would most likely have big problems because of suffocation in this case. What really happens is that they lay their head and neck down against the ground. Since these parts are light-colored, they blend in, which actually explains why people think their heads are buried in the sand. Also, the Earth is round. Or is it? Well, technically it has flattened poles, together with a bulge at the equator. That way, it has an irregular shape of an ellipsoid. Hey, remember that one for your next party conversation. Water boils when you add a bit of salt. That's a myth. It doesn't make any difference, and even if it does, it may even take longer for the water to boil. Porcupines shoot their quills. No, not quite. These quills are on their tail, sides, and back. They lay flat until the animal starts feeling threatened. But it's not their defense mechanism, since quills are rather soft to the touch. Maybe the myth occurred because these quills may detach if you touch them. A camel's hump is for water storage. No. These humps store fat, while the extra water is stored in their bloodstream. A blue whale's tongue is so big, it can weigh as much as a full-grown elephant. Well, that's true. Yep, these fellas are huge. Also, the heart of a blue whale is almost as big as a small piano. Wait a minute, heartstrings, piano strings. That must mean that blue whales can play the piano. And that's how these myths sometimes get started. You lose more heat through your head. Nah. The real reason people believe so is because when it's cold, our head is the only part we're most likely to keep uncovered. If we went outside wearing just a t-shirt, we'd lose heat through our arms. So, wear a hat, guys. Meanwhile, If you're wearing only a t-shirt outside in winter, it's not only going to be your arms that get chilly. That's it for today. So hey, if you pacified your curiosity, then give the video a like and share it with your friends. Or if you want more, just click on these videos and stay on the bright side.
There are two sides to every story. Just like to a regular cotton pad. Two different textures, to be more precise. One is smooth, and you're supposed to use it for more sensitive areas of your face, for example, the eyes. The rougher side can help you remove makeup and clean your face in less sensitive areas, like the forehead. If you like having greenery in your home, you've probably noticed the flower pots have holes at the bottom. These holes are the reason your green friends live a happy life. They're extremely important for water drainage. Thanks to these holes, you'll avoid stagnant water buildup that can eventually ruin your plant. Also, thanks to those holes, roots can grow and expand beyond the limits of your pot. Have you noticed aviator sunglasses mostly have green lenses? It has something to do with their origin. First, they showed up in the 1930s. Before that, pilots had goggles to protect their eyes while they were in the air. High altitudes with glaring sun and sub-zero temperatures were a real test for their eyes. The goggles helped them with those issues, but there was another one. Since the temperature differences between the air outside and within the goggles were big, the lenses would fog up and obscure the pilot's view. So, the company Bausch & Lomb came up with teardrop lenses surrounded by a light metal frame. These lenses were dark green because this tint cuts out blue light, which is also a problem for pilots when they're flying above the cloud line. Plus, green lenses also reduce glare and improve contrast and sharpness. Holes in the side of your Converse sneakers? Are those really necessary? Well, they allow air to enter your shoe so your feet can stay cool. You can also use them to style up your shoes and tie them in different ways too. There are two reasons plastic bottles have grooves. First, if you're drinking cold water and it's hot outside, you'll see there's a lot of condensation on your bottle. Or maybe if you're playing some sport or working out. Your hands are sweaty, and if a bottle had a smooth surface, it would be more difficult to grip it. So the ridges are there to improve your hand grip. The second reason is that because of these ridges, manufacturers can use thinner plastic. That means they need less material in overall production. And that plastic is still firm enough for the bottle to maintain its shape. Wooden coat hangers are not just there to look nice. Since they're made of cedar wood, they bring a nice scent to your closet. Plus, they repel bugs. They're also quite firm, so they come in handy for heavy clothes, such as jackets. And it's hard to damage them. So, they'll serve you longer. You may have noticed there's a colored square at the bottom of your toothpaste. These blocks mostly come in blue, red, green, and black. They are some sort of eye marks, since they help manufacturing machines at the assembly line recognize where and when to cut the toothpaste and seal the end of the tube. Some boots have loops at their top and back. Looks like a fashion statement, doesn't it? Or maybe it's something that manufacturers add for fun. But those loops actually have their purpose. With them, you can pull the shoe up when trying to wear it. Plus, you can easily hang them or use the loop for better support for the laces. Confession time. Remember those attachments your vacuum cleaner came with? Did you also put them somewhere aside and never use them again? They're actually pretty helpful when you're cleaning the house because you can use them for particular areas that are sometimes hard to reach with the regular attachment. We all know what the vegetable peeler is for, but besides peeling the skin of carrots or potatoes, you can use it for onions too. It may be faster than doing it with a knife, plus it will save you some onion tears. Some sweatshirts have something pretty specific in the neck area. A V-shaped stitch you can see in the middle of the collar. The ribbed insert, similar to the ribbing at the hem and the sleeves, would allow the owner to put the garment on more easily, and it wouldn't even lose shape. The V-insert would stretch, so a person wearing the sweatshirt could get their head through the neck. Its purpose was also to absorb sweat. In its early versions, sweatshirts had both the back and the front of the collars. Through time, they lost the back one, and this V insert became something decorative since manufacturers started to stitch a V at the collar without using the ribbed material they had added before. Brightly colored squares or circles you see on food packages aren't an indication of vitamins, minerals, or certain flavors that food contains. And nope, it's not some secret code consumers are supposed to crack. It's actually for printing engineers. They're called process control patches or printer's color blocks. During the process of printing the food packaging, manufacturers use those colored blocks to check if the printing ink is correct. They compare the color of blocks they print to make sure the brand they print for has a consistent and recognizable quality all over the world. The majority of printers only use 4 colors: yellow, magenta, cyan, and black. Some printers have additional colors, such as green, orange, and violet. That's why you sometimes see multiple circles on certain packages. They test each ink color. Margins in notebooks. They're not there as some sort of a guide for taking notes and writing. Someone came up with a potential solution that was supposed to protect the written work from, well, rats. They used to be pretty common residents in people's homes. They are known for their diet, including basically anything, like paper, for example. So, people started adding wide margins as an appetizer that was supposed to keep rats full. This way, they wouldn't want to get to the main dish, the written pages. Suits have a buttonhole close to the top of the lapel. Manufacturers sew it shut so you can't open it without ruining your suit. And when you compare it to the other lapel, you see that one is completely smooth, without any clues. You won't find such an unpartnered buttonhole on a suit jacket only. Camp shirts, pea coats, and some other clothing pieces have them too. And they have to do with the history of lapels. The earliest ones showed up at the beginning of the 19th century. Before this, men mostly wear frocks with high collars. They would button them all the way up to the top. During hot days, they would relax the button stance, turn down the collars, and leave the top button undone. It was a relief from the swelter, plus their folded over laps would be symmetrical at the chest, and today, we recognize that as a lapel. People stopped using that buttonhole after they came up with the lapel, unless it was for some formal occasion. Like, for example, when you wanted to put a flower in there. That's why suit makers left it, as a fashion feature. Tea bags. It's pretty easy to guess what they're for, but they come in handy if you have smelly feet after a long day in your shoes. Just pop tea bags, unused of course, in your shoes during the night. By the time you wake up, tea bags are going to effectively absorb all the unwanted odors. Binder clips can also have a helpful purpose besides their main one. You can clip your money to keep it together. Same is true for paper clips. If your favorite bracelet broke and you're looking for a way to hold it on, a paper clip might help. Just hook one through each end of the bracelet, twist it tightly, and your bracelet is good to go.